lovely people, my name is Nicole and today I want to talk about Windfall by Jennifer E. Smith. If you have not heard of this book, it is about this girl who, for her best friend's 18th birthday, she decides to buy him a lottery ticket. It's just sort of a funny gift that it's, you know, it's his 18th birthday, he played the lottery, yay! Of course, this is her best friend who she's been totally in love with for forever. Of course, but basically she buys him this lottery ticket and then surprise, surprise, he actually wins $141 million, which is like crazy, and it's the kind of money that changes everything. And so they have to deal with basically just figuring out like what to do next and like how not to let this money change them and just all that crazy stuff that comes with having that kind of life-changing amount of money. This entire review is going to be spoiler-free, so if you haven't had a chance to pick up this book yet, don't worry, I won't spoil anything. So Jennifer E. Smith is kind of known for adorable, fluffy romances, and this definitely has some really good romance in it. I do think it's less fluffy than a lot of her other books. This really has some pretty intense character development, emotional development. The main character is an orphan. She's living with her aunt, uncle, and cousin, who her cousin's one of her best friends. He's the one who introduced her to her other best friend, Teddy, who's the guy that she's in love with and bought the lottery ticket for. But she's an orphan, and her parents sort of left this really big like legacy to fulfill. They were some pretty big footsteps to follow, and they were both philanthropists. Her mom was about to go to Stanford to get a degree in nonprofit work and like start her own charity, and her dad was like an ecological lawyer or something like that. So she really wants to sort of live up to their expectations, what they wanted for her, and sort of do them justice. And so she spends a lot of time volunteering in soup kitchens at the library. She's planning on going to Stanford in the same program that her mom was going to go into. So she sort of has everything planned out based on what her parents wanted. And so a lot of this book deals with her figuring out, well, yeah, it's what her parents wanted, but is it really what she wants? And she sort of has to figure out how to separate that out and how to still do her parents' memory justice while also making sure that she's doing the right thing for her. And then you have Teddy, who is dealing with all this crazy life-changing stuff. He and his mom were living in a one-bedroom apartment after his dad gambled away all their family savings and then just kind of left and dropped out of their lives. And then all of a sudden he's a millionaire and he's only 18. And what does an 18-year-old boy do when he wins several $1 million? He buys himself a car and takes his entire basketball team to Mexico for spring break. And so he's trying to deal with sort of the overwhelming, he has all this money, what does he do with it? And also, he's trying to kind of stay humble, which is hard when all of a sudden you're a millionaire and people are inviting you to go on talk shows and interviews and there are paparazzi outside your apartment. It gets a little crazy. And then they're both having to deal together with the fact that she's been in love with him for a really long time, and he seems kind of oblivious to that. I just think that this book has some absolutely phenomenal character development. That's really the main thing that stuck out to me. Don't get me wrong, the relationship development's really good, the romance is adorable, but really what's at the heart of this is the character development. Because with the exception of sort of the major plot point that kicks things off, the winning of the lottery, so much of the plot in this is driven by the character development, by Alice and Teddy trying to figure out what they want, what they need, how they relate to each other and to their other friends and to Leo, Alice's cousin, and just trying to figure themselves out in a time where, yeah, 18's, it's about when you're figuring yourself out. It wasn't too long ago where I was in their shoes trying to figure out what to do for college and trying to balance like what you want versus what your parents want versus like wanting to stay close to friends versus just all these different things that are going on, and they're all like telling you conflicting things, and it's a hard, really hard time. I also think that this book was a lot of fun. I mean, like, you get to explore the you're 18, you just win the lottery, what are you gonna do? How are you going to play with all that money? And that's, I mean, it's a fun fantasy to explore. And I think that Jennifer E. Smith does a really good job of keeping it realistic while also making sure there's a little bit of a moral at the end. I think that having that kind of money is something that seems, when you don't have it, it seems like a easy, fun, you know, it'll solve all your problems kind of thing. You can pay off your loans and you can buy your parents a car and all these crazy things. But then when you actually get it, it's a lot, and he has to figure out, does he blow it all on buying his mom a house or buying himself a car? Does he give it away to his friends or his family or to charity? Or like, what do you do? It's so much pressure and it's crazy, and he all of a sudden has all of these people around him who never talked to him before, who are all of a sudden getting all buddy-buddy with him because he's now a millionaire. And it's a lot of pressure for a kid, because yeah, at 18, like, at the end of the day, you're still a kid and you're still trying to figure everything out. And so I think Jennifer E. Smith did a really good job of portraying such a real experience in such a surreal context that was just really well done. I kind of covered this when I talked about the character development, but the characters in general were great. Like I said, they had really good development, and I think that they were complex, and each one of them had their own stuff going on. They were all the heroes of their own story. I think that's a really good sign of a well-written character. If you can tell that they're the star of their own story, they may not be the star of this story, but they have their own thing going on and they're dealing with their own problems. They have their own internal conflicts, and it really felt like all the characters in the story, from Alice's aunt and uncle who she's living with to her cousin, Alice and Teddy obviously have their own thing going on. Just everyone they interact with is living their own life, and they're a part of this bigger story that doesn't just end with Alice and Teddy's sort of adventures. To be quite honest, I did not expect a lot from this book. I mean, I've enjoyed Jennifer E. Smith's books before, but more in just kind of like a cute, fluffy romance kind of thing, nothing deeper than that. But I think that this book really blew me away. I got so much more out of it than I expected. I cried at the end, which I did not expect going into it. Happy tears, don't worry. This doesn't suddenly turn into some like tear-jerking tragedy, everyone's dying kind of thing. It was surprisingly emotional and had so much heart behind it, and I really loved it. So I ended up giving it 4.5 stars. This book comes out on May 2nd, so make sure you pick it up once it comes out because it's well worth it. It's, like I said, a fluffy contemporary with so much heart behind it. So I highly recommend this, especially if you like Jennifer E. Smith's other books. So yeah, like I said, go pick it up. It's so worth the read. I love you guys, and I will see you later.